everyone, and welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me as always is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Well, man, back again for another episode here where we will be discussing episodes 3 and 4 of Andor. As you just said before we hit record, what some are referring to as the show that will save Star Wars for 100 years.
That's right. 100 episodes of Andor to save Star Wars from Kenobi.
That is kind of funny. And obviously we'll get into our reviews and, kind of spoil everything and talk about kind of how the ratings are for everybody else. But I do think that's a kind of an interesting take. It's going to save it.
Well, that's also like people that make reviews like, oh, Star Wars is dead. Nobody knows how to do storytelling anymore and nothing worth caring about.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there is quite a bit of bad storytelling out today in general.
There certainly is. And I can kind of get with what some people say about how Mando was like the last really good, entertaining Star Wars show. I mean, I can't necessarily lie. We've had some issues with Kenobi and Boba Fett and whatnot, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, doesn't it just kind of depend on your view of things, though? Because, like, I mean, we I don't really remember what we did ratings wise for Kenobi, but I know it wasn't our favorite show, but we also didn't hate it.
Yeah, and really, until you watch it 2 or 3 times, I don't think a really harsh rating is in order for any show, to be honest. I mean, unless it's just complete garbage. And obviously, we were a little more negative on Boba Fett, just because not a whole lot really happened with Boba Fett in the show.
Yeah.
But even that, we weren't super negative about it.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't think it was something that we had to, I don't know, just destroy.
Not like Alphabet Squadron.
Well, only the last 2 books. First one was fine.
That's right.
Oh boy.
So maybe we should use the same logic with Alphabet Squadron and read them again and do more reviews of them. You want to do that when we get off TV shows? You want to do that?
No.
Did you throw away your copy of Alphabet Squadron?
I mean, it's probably still there.
Got lost in the move.
I mean, it's probably in a box. It's in a box somewhere, man.
Poor Alphabet Squadron.
But yeah, folks, that's what we're going to be going over here today. And then after this, it'll be 1 episode per show instead of 2.
It'll be normal.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Normal. What is normal? Oh, boy. Well, how's your week been? Oh, wait, no, stop. Nobody wants to hear about that stuff. We want to hear about the most important.
That's very true.
The very most important part of the podcast. It's the podcast about
that should be the
fishing.
Subscription for our podcast. It's the Cod Pass.
It's the Cod Pass. Where you get a free cod every month on us.
That's right. It'll be very bad by the time you get it.
Oh, very
it
true.
will make you sick. Don't eat it.
Yeah, just look at it and then throw it away. No, the most important part of all this are our weekly Lord of the Rings of Power review.
Yes, Rings of Power. Maybe something will finally happen next episode. I feel like that's about to be a slogan, like maybe the Browns will do well this year.
Hey, the Browns did beat the Steelers on Thursday Night Football.
That was an amazing game. That was the best Browns game I've seen in a long time.
Well,
not gonna lie. Low ugly, but
that defense almost gave it away, and they were like 2 12 men on the field penalties, but
yeah.
Boy, what a...
Penalties that whole game were pretty insane.
There's a lot of suspect things going on in that organization. I mean, from coaching decisions to coaching decisions to coaching decisions to apparently Denzel Ward forgetting how to play football and then, just saying it wasn't his fault. I mean, that's a weird organization. They play Atlanta this Sunday, which should be a slam dunk because Atlanta sucks. No offense to any Atlanteans out there, but the Falcons are kind of hapless right now.
Yeah, have they actually won this year? Have you checked their standings?
No, dude, I don't pay that much attention. I know that the Dolphins have been doing better.
Are the Dolphins?
No, they've been doing better. They got
Really?
that receiver from Kansas City, Tyreek Hill, and he's making old Tua look like a superstar. And so they've been playing well. The quarterback for the Chargers, because that was a big popular pick, he got hurt his ribs or something like that. Jimmy Garoppolo's back up in San Francisco after they benched him and made him take less money for a guy who's out for the year. And Aaron Rodgers is still the GOAT, so I don't know what to say. He's just ayahuascaing out of his mind, but he's still playing good football. So.
And more importantly than that, the Bengals suck this year.
God, that's got to be one of the biggest disappointments to anybody who loves the Cincinnati Bengals. Just what a
Which is a lot of people
team.
from Ohio now.
They are
a lot of people have gone crazy with them lately.
Oh, man, they went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, watch them go winless, you jerks. I think.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think I read a statistic that somewhere, like, again, this is all averages, but like if Joe Burrow continues to get sacked at the rate he's being sacked now, he'll rack up like 150 sacks on the year. He'll be the most sacked quarterback of all time or some BS like that. Yeah.
I'm sure Fantasy League people are really excited about their pick for this year. Some people are losing some major money this year.
I wouldn't have picked them up. Sophomore slump, man. It happens to almost everybody. I mean, very rarely does that not affect you. And the thing is, you can come out like a ball of fire your rookie year, but if you're not overworking and outworking everybody else in the league, that second year, people are going to figure you out. They're going to figure you out. It happened to Baker Mayfield.
I was just going to say it's pretty similar to what we dealt with. So
yeah, Baker had an amazing rookie season, came back, had a very lackluster sophomore season, picked it back up in the junior season, and now he's off in Carolina being the starter for Carolina. And he played pretty well against the Browns in week 1 after coming off of all that injury crap he went through last year. Which again was not a very good year for him because injuries and stuff. So Hey
guys, I feel better now that I'm not playing for you. I was just sick from you.
Well, the dude was reasonably beat up. Personally, I don't care what anybody says. I wouldn't have sold my soul for Deshaun Watson no matter how good, but with all the crap hanging around his head, right or wrong, true or not, I wouldn't have touched that with a 10-foot pole. Talented guy, does not seem to be the best human being out there. And I've listened to interviews, and I'm not real happy with the way he's handled the situation. Just from a professionality standpoint, I think a lot of what he said, it hasn't been very proper, and I wouldn't have sold out for that. And now we're looking at Jacoby Brissette, who has played okay. He's actually hasn't played bad. He hasn't made mistakes.
How bad was his injury, though?
Who's that?
Brissette. Didn't he get injured in the Steelers game?
I think he's fine, but I think there was one part where he might have just took a hard hit, but I think he's okay.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Myles Garrett will be out this next game. He got in a car accident.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
really?
he's apparently fine, bruising and stuff like that from what I read, but yeah, he
just want to make sure for a week he doesn't have whiplash or anything.
Well, it was some strained muscles, stuff like that, bumps, bruises, cuts, all that good sort of stuff, but I think he cleared concussion protocol and all that stuff, but he'll be back, but yeah, you never know. And I mean, my God, car accidents are kind of traumatic in and of itself. So, give the dude a little bit of time to chill, but yeah, that'll be a little unfortunate.
Kidding. How was the Ohio State game? You got to go see that, Saturday?
Are we done with
afternoon?
Are we done with our Lord of the Rings Power Hour? Or?
Oh, no, just since we were still on football, I figured I'd just bring that up.
Okay, yeah. So, the whole thing with that so girlfriend has season tickets. She was actually gifted 2 other tickets, which meant we get to sell one and keep one, so make a little bit of money.
And you're selling Michigan, of course.
I'm not interested in going to the Michigan game.
I wouldn't be either.
She's already up. She's already up money because she sold the Notre Dame game, and that was a big one. She sold another one that was the Iowa game. We're not going to be in the state for that.
Oh yeah.
So she already sold that. We weren't able to go to the Toledo game for whatever reason. I think we were doing something, and then sold the second pair of Wisconsin tickets, and that put her up on the pay. So with the Michigan tickets, and she's probably not going to sell those until it gets closer to make sure that, because like if they're both doing crazy well, those tickets will be expensive.
Yeah, no kidding.
But at any rate, yeah. So we went. We didn't sit in our normal seats, which are really good. They're very nice seats. We sat in the seats for these new tickets, and it was not as good a seat. Everybody over there was standing a lot, and in the other section, everybody was just more content to watch the game. And it was fine. It was a good view of the field, still pretty decent. And I found the best place to get beer, which was right by this section. It's the only place that had any actual good beers. They had a couple of different things from Land Grant, and I don't know. There were a few other things. She got a Rheingeist like spiked iced tea.
Ooh, they're going that route, huh?
Yeah. Well, Rheingeist did make one that I liked. It's called Lemonade. It's like a spiked lemonade, which was actually pretty good for like a summer drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had
like a Palmer almost.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, they had some good stuff there, and yeah, they enjoyed the game. Obviously, they walked all over Wisconsin. It wasn't even a game.
Yeah, bit of a blowout for sure. We watched the first half of it, had to go home, and I really didn't feel any need to pop it on at home.
Nope, no real reason. And I mean, we've been Ubering, and it was fine getting there. It's typical rate. Unfortunately, we found out that it gets hella expensive for late games. So anything,
I'm sure.
Anything after that, it was real expensive. And the guy drove
was
like
it just
an absolute
expensive
idiot.
on the way out or going in as well?
No, going in it was fine. It was I think it was like $14, which is pretty typical.
Yeah.
But going
you
in
have to protect your car from that kind of crowd. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the thing is like there are some places you can park and walk, but like you're not technically supposed to park in people's parking lots and all that blah blah blah. They don't want you know.
Right.
But yeah, it was not fun to pay whatever like $50 we had to pay to get back. And the guy drove like an absolute idiot. Like, I mean, just an idiot. The guy even driving in didn't drive real. He would just, anyway, the bad drivers all around. But yeah, no, game was good. Had a good time at the game. And then we went to, Michigan on Sunday to just do a few things for the day. Went to this, tapas place called Aventura, and that was really cool. I've been there before. So I took her, she likes tapas, and we got little like buffalo-y potatoes with an egg on it, and these little cheeseburgers or little hamburgers, and these shrimp. And so that was all pretty good. And then we went around the corner to this macaroon place and got some really good macaroons and not so good coffee. The coffee was pretty lame, but the macaroons were really good. And yeah, so that was pretty much the weekend.
Nice. Yeah, this Saturday I might be going for the Rutgers game. Our company, a division of it, is working on the Ohio State Wexner facility, so they ended up setting up a tailgate for the entire company site-wide for Ohio, so we're going to do, it's all catered, food, drinks, alcohol, whatnot.
Yeah, well, you have to let me know, because I'll also, you're not going to be at the stadium.
It's going to be at the stadium, but we're tailgating outside. They didn't buy us all tickets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we'll be there too. We're going to go. We're going to go to the game.
Gotcha.
It's like a 3:30.
Well, if you come a little early, I could always, get you a free beer from our event, probably.
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully it's not too cold. We'll probably just be bringing a couple chairs, hanging out there. Looks like a 3:30 game, so that'll be decent time. Won't be too chilly.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to let me know what you guys want to do if you want to do something afterwards. I didn't know you were gonna go, but yeah.
Yeah, I just found out today.
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after this. Then that's cool though. But yeah, decent atmosphere down there. It's pretty good. And if you get the Uber and you just have them drop you off at the James, the cancer facility that's like literally right there. You just have a little bit of walk. It's actually pretty nice.
Well, luckily they're going to supposedly let us all park there on site at the construction side of it. So
it's still walk, but it's still pretty nutty and like
I'm sure
they block off a lot, so it's not very fun.
Yeah, might talk with a few people about parking a little further back and doing an Uber.
Yeah, and that might not be a bad idea. So yeah, cool. How's the rest of the week been?
Not super great. I've been battling this cold, not cold. That's been getting progressively worse. So that alone might keep me from going Saturday. I've just been cold lately. I usually keep the house at like 71. I get home from work and I'm just chilled all the time. I'm not really running a huge fever, but it's been weird. I've had like congestion and whatnot for a week and a half straight. It's like, if I'm going to get sick, I would love to just get it over with kind of deal.
Wow.
But, other than that, not a whole lot going on. We kind of canceled our plans for the week, so it's been boring. Just getting all the schoolwork done so I can enjoy the weekend.
Okay. Very good. Well, okay. Yeah, my weekend was that yeah, I already talked about it. So
uneventful week, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, to this point, yeah, fairly uneventful. Just work stuff. Nothing too crazy.
No update on the house.
Inspection is going down Friday.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, it's. Did I not tell you it's in contract?
I
thought we
maybe
talked
at
about
the
that.
time we talked about it, it wasn't yet. You had some people coming to look at it.
Oh, okay, yeah, my bad.
I could be wrong.
So yeah, somebody looked at it, sent an offer. I basically, my realtor kind of wrangled him a little bit, which is a little gross in a way, to be honest, but got it up a little higher. So yeah, I accepted the offer.
Okay, cool.
And then so it's in contract, or well, it's whatever you want to call it, pending, contingent, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Pretty close to what you wanted for it, I take it.
I mean, close enough. I
know you were talking about dropping the price,
and I did
last week. So
yeah, I
did. You?
I did.
Okay,
just to try and get rid of it, because I didn't. It's one of those things that I would have just probably been waiting a little longer. It's like, nah, I just want it done, and it was really only on the market for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that long. I was just impatient. But yep, except
if you're already at a point where you can get debt free and
exactly.
not have that looming over your head, what's that extra 10 or 15,000 worth?
Yeah,
just to not pay the bills anymore.
Exactly, and that's the big thing, just not to pay the bills. But yeah, nope. So that's working its way through. Should be closing towards the end of October. But yeah, inspections Friday. Their inspection, and then just kind of going from there. They're like a veteran, so they're doing like a VA loan, so it's got to, it's got to go through their process. But apparently, I might also have 2 other people who would potentially have like backup offers if it falls through for any reason. One of them apparently might be cash, and they don't care about the inspection, so might be one of those deals where that would have been better to hear first. I might have taken that first, to be honest. But,
yeah. A lot less paperwork that way for sure.
Yeah.
But now, with a house like you have, inspection, I assume they have to check the other side as well, your neighbor's side, seeing as how it's connected?
No.
Really?
Nope, just the one.
Really?
Yep, just the one.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool. Well, hopefully that goes well.
Yeah, and it should. Should be fine. That's the hope, and we'll see.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I suppose we should probably talk about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings.
What the
power
the
half
podcast
hour
is about. The Cod Pass.
That's what this is about. Cod Pass. Honestly, that That would be a pretty cool shirt. I'd like that. It'd just be a cod in the background, like a fillet, not even the full fish, but just like a fillet of fish.
Right.
It's going to be a McDonald's fillet of fish.
What has to be.
That says cod pass. Oh, Jesus.
The fillet of fish has to be
The
like
fillet of fist.
fist. Yes. No, you need to animate it so it has like arms and legs, so it can be like kicking a piece of fish from Long John Silver's or something.
Okay, now we're just going out the. We're just. Oh, that's too much. Too much. Yeah. I don't know. Did you like the last episodes of the old Not So Rings of Power?
I would have liked it more if something happened. I guess we kind of had things happen, things set in motion, but I don't know. It's getting harder and harder to see how this is going to line up with the forging of any rings at this point, with how slow it is.
Yeah, well,
unless this is going to be multiple seasons.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. Supposedly they have five seasons.
5 seasons of this show already. Green.
I mean that apparently was the idea, is 5 seasons. Yeah,
I could see the pacing a little better that way. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, man. It's fine. I didn't so much mind it myself, but yeah. It's kind of like what the Silmarillion is. It's a bit wordy. Doesn't have much going on until you hit big points, and it's the same thing for me. Like, I think that there are definitely some people who enjoy the portrayal of Galadriel, and that's fine. I just don't, I don't really get the whole angry thing. And my buddy Chase, from These Are the Voyages, the Star Trek podcast, he likes the portrayal. He'd kind of thought it a little bit more appropriate for her, and then eventually she kind of grows into the person that she wants to be, and maybe even like alluded to potentially envying a little bit of like, not being able to kind of, rule herself, rule over a kingdom, and obviously that becomes Lothlorien and everything. But like, for me, it's just it's a little bit much. It's a little bit much, and even I don't know. It's not.
Well, it gets
not
to the point where
terrible,
it's like how much can you downgrade a character before you redeem them, where it's just too late for people to care anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
Is my concern. If we keep going down this route of her being, in some instances, just kind of insufferable. In others, not too bad. But I don't know. I find myself more and more every day only really caring about what happens with the Isildur.
Yeah, which is interesting, because certain things that I've seen haven't enjoyed Numenor at all. But it's like, personally, I've
been okay with Numenor. I think it's probably the best story arc, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
not that there's really much of a story arc beyond that. I mean, our little defense of, I'm not even going to try to remember the name of the city or the little village, but that's kind of
the Southlands.
Getting a bit stale. The Southlands, yeah. And my God, if our elf doesn't just admit to being Sauron or say that he isn't Sauron, I think I might go.
Yeah, he's
which I don't believe he is.
No, he's not.
Obviously.
He's not Sauron. There are a lot of other people that he probably, but no, he's not Sauron. And then they did finally interject that one kind of androgynous looking character in the last episode, who was like, looking out for maybe Gandalf or not Gandalf, or possibly kind of evil Gandalf, or maybe Sauron. Trying to help wouldn't that be the funniest?
If that was Sauron, that would be kind of funny. Honestly.
Yeah, wouldn't that be kind of the funniest thing if like Sauron was the guy who actually like helped the hobbits reach Hobbiton and everything, and like Gandalf's there all the time. He's like, oh, I really like this place, super cool. I like these Hobbit guys, and then like Sauron's just like,
not a cool guy, by the way.
It's like, that's mine.
Well, it could be what's his name? The one from the Hobbit movies. Same rank as Sauron and Gandalf. Who's the other wizard?
Oh, are you talking about Saruman, or are you talking about Radagast?
Radagast.
I don't think it's Radagast.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get that. I don't think it is, but I mean, who knows? We'll just
No, if
have
that
to
was
see.
Saruman, that'd be kind of weird, seeing as how he looks literally nothing like him whatsoever. They're not even trying.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
But no, I thought Numenor was pretty solid. I've enjoyed that so far. I like all the little side stories. I'm really enjoying everything with Isildur's father. I can't think of his name at the top of my head, but what was it?
Elendil.
Elendil. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just something seems to be, happening in the next episode based on the trailer, but we'll have to see. I do like what we've seen with the orcs so far. That kind of went from crappy to pretty decent in the last episode, I think. So
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that's actually pretty brutal because even in this episode, we have the villagers that are like gonna go pay fealty, and it's like, well, like, okay, kill this boy then. Like, how committed are you? It's like, ooh, dark.
Right.
So
probably just gonna end up dead anyway, honestly.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, this is gruesome, but I kind of wish they had just killed all those villagers.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention it would help, our cast, because obviously they would just be more to deal with.
Right.
And that would be the hardest thing to fight, is everyone you grew up with. So hopefully they kill them off. I hate to say that, but
well, it would just make them seem even more brutal. It would just make the stakes seem that much more. But there again, I mean, I wish I knew a little bit more about some of this more advanced backstory stuff. And it's so steeped in effectively like interpretation and side notes. And I mean, obviously you have the Silmarillion, but you have like Chris Tolkien's interpretation of his father's work. There was something that kept popping up this week about, originally orcs were corrupted elves. But then,
yeah, that's been changed multiple times. They went from that. There was they were created out of something from the ground.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I think what Tolkien's final kind of thought is that they were humans. They were just men.
Which to me would make the most sense, more than elves even, I think.
Right, but the issue is that, when Chris Tolkien went to curate a lot of this, he kept the elf thing. And it wasn't like malicious intent. It was just like, I thought this is what pretty much he wanted. So, but yeah, that's
right.
pretty hotly debated.
You'd think that'd be something like kind of weird getting into wills and estates and everything. But like, if you're a writer with that acclaim, I would feel like you'd want to, for your executor at least, really, write everything out plainly for what the intentions are going forward.
Yeah.
Especially with anything that could be lore breaking. But not everyone thinks of that. He might not have been that into the estate.
Well, who expects to die?
True.
You know what I mean? Who just expects that? So it probably wasn't much. And I mean, honestly, I think Christopher Tolkien did a pretty good job of curating everything, and he did it up through his 90s and all that stuff until he passed. So, yeah, I don't know, but
yeah, big thing for me right now. I'm trying to decide. I have some extra credits, obviously, since we won't be going through any books for a while. I've thought about just getting the Silmarillion to listen to at work. My only fear with that is it's gonna show a lot of plot holes in the show and kind of ruin it for me. So I almost want to go through the show before rereading the Silmarillion.
Yeah,
I'm just foggy enough on it that I don't know if they're making mistakes. So,
yeah, I mean, well, there's tons of stuff that's made up and all that, blah 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 blah. But
yeah.
Anyway, I think we should probably move on away from the Tolkien half hour and then get a little bit into Star Wars.
And yet again, I'll throw out there, simply because we had our mid-season huge shift in House of Dragon, start House of Dragon, because this episode was absolutely amazing. We actually changed out like 90% of the main cast for the time jump.
Oh, there's a time jump?
Yeah. Yeah, in the Civil War, they jump about...
like midway through the season?
Yeah. I wasn't looking forward to it, but they actually did it really well. And I think they jump about... Let's see, Aegon would have been probably about 14, 15 years, I would say. Yeah, pretty big jump.
Is this only supposed to be one season? Or
Supposedly there are multiple seasons, but they're going to be following other members of the Targaryens, so they have to kind of wrap up everything with Rhaenyra this season, unfortunately.
How about we just...
I feel like this could take multiple seasons, personally, but yeah.
How about we just take a little trip to the Stormlands? Like,
I mean, I'd be okay with that.
Why don't we just do that?
I wouldn't mind kind of going...
House of the Deer.
House of the Deer. Pre-Baratheon or post-Baratheon?
All the Baratheons. Let's just go through it.
But I would like to see some ancient Stark stuff. Maybe Bran the Builder, seeing him construct the wall. I think that'd be pretty neat.
Well, eventually we'll get the Jon Snow series, so...
Yeah, at least we'll get that. And there is talks of a series based around Aegon's conquest, which I think would be pretty freaking epic, honestly.
Maybe.
But it's also the most told story. I mean, everyone knows it. And
yeah,
I don't know. I think that would take more than a season because you really couldn't go over the conquest of each of the 7 kingdoms per episode properly, I think. So
yeah,
I would definitely want to see a decent backstory as to, the Dream Seers and why they left Old Valyria and kind of go through all of that.
Yep.
Not just jump right into Aegon riding Balerion.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, there we go. There's our other show's half hour. I don't know. One day...
This is our tease into potentially switching over.
One day, this podcast just might become a variety show, which will probably PO people off. But, like...
Star Wars has to slow down eventually. The Juggernaut can't go on forever.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, hey, this was the show that's supposed to save it, so...
Let's see if it does.
Let's roll into episode 3 here.
Reckoning.
Yes, the Reckoning. And let's see here. How long was our episode? 42 minutes in total, obviously, with credits and recaps and all that. It does bring it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when we had kind of left off, Andor killed a guy, 2 guys, and
lots of darts, lots of darts.
Well, I mean, he killed people. He's killed a few people,
Yeah,
he's basically a killer, and
he's not a good man.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's what they all say until they kill you. So we have Andor. He's kind of on the run at this point. He is going to meet up with a potential buyer for his star drive, and he's hoping to use the credits to basically go away. He's done here.
That's right.
Now we
also have the weirdest droid in the beginning of this episode too. Did you catch that? Our little ship droid.
Ship droid.
Is literally a droid that's entire job is to be a boarding set of stairs for a floating transport.
Oh. You're talking about the flashback sequence.
No, this is actually where our leader of the spies gets onto the planet. It's around 6 minutes in or so. No, I kind of jumped past the flashback. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're okay. You're talking about old Skarsgård coming in.
Yes.
Here. Okay. Sorry. Got it. Yeah, I was kind of in the beginning there a bit with young Cassian. Do you want to go through now Cassian or young Cassian first?
We could go through young Cassian first.
Okay.
Kind of go through all the flashbacks.
I figured that'd be a little easier too. Because essentially I can round it up pretty quickly. Young Cassian goes in the ship where, he finds more dead people. He apparently doesn't like his reflection, so he smashes stuff. And then he is taken by his new mom, who he now found out was not his actual mother at all. She was somebody who found him on the planet and took him with her. And we also met his, in quotation, father, who was not his father, who we also learned was hung in the public square on this planet. So we now know basically nothing about Cassian's parentage,
Right.
and that this wasn't his parentage at all. They just, took him off the planet as they were kind of raiding the transport, which we find out is a Republic transport.
That's right. Yeah, the time jump kind of threw me for a loop there. I don't know why I assumed it would have been Imperial era. I guess I just kind of didn't math very well there. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see someone not receive our troops very well, other than, I mean, I guess maybe they could have been on a separatist ran planet at the time, but they don't really say anything about that.
See, that's a theory right now. The theory is that the children were survivors of a separatist ship.
Okay.
So
I could dig that.
That kind of makes sense-ish, but they did kill this, Republic officer. Obviously, new mom and new dad that we're just meeting, and shiny robot who's not so shiny anymore show up, and they just kind of take him.
Well, it kind of could go back to his comment about being in this war since he was 6 years old, if he was fighting the Republic at that age.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, most people don't really, if they're in that, they didn't notice a huge difference between the Republic and the Empire. It just change of name, essentially. So if they're already fighting them, that makes a lot of sense.
And I'll be honest, I think that comment made in Rogue One is starting to lose a lot of steam. And
yeah, because, I mean, we're not seeing his life being torn apart by war.
Yeah.
He really doesn't care about the war. And, well, at this point, we don't really have a war yet. We have a budding rebellion. It's barely open rebellion at this point.
Yeah.
So the comment is kind of being made less and less important. I agree.
Well, he's not Jen Erso. Jen Erso has legitimately been fighting this war since she was a kid. So in that respect, I'm not sure if maybe they're not giving enough credence to what Rogue One had, in quotations, established, or they're kind of setting Andor up more as the consummate liar / spy, because spies are liars. You know what I mean?
True enough.
But you're right. I mean, it could be he's been fighting, but he's been fighting against something else, and then that morphs into something else. So he's just been fighting.
The only other thing I could think is it's his own personal battles and wars, kind of going back to our comment about his prison being carried with him at all times.
Yep.
So hard to say. Interesting though.
Yeah, it is interesting. So anyway, we finally get our screen time with Luthen Stellan Skarsgård, who is, as we sort of march through here, we learn that he is basically an antiques dealer on Coruscant.
Yeah, very good spy as well. I mean, he definitely knows how to put on a front.
Yeah, no doubt.
I've fallen in love with this character in the last couple episodes, not gonna lie.
Yeah, but before we get to that, just we'll obviously continue through this episode. So we have our troops, our kind of Weasley lieutenant and our overzealous sergeant coming in with their group of soldiers to arrest Andor, and they bring in the Force too, not the Force, but like a Force. And
probably could have used the Force. Honestly,
yeah, I would say so. Bix learns that her old boyfriend Tim, with 2 M's, to make him Space Tim, not like Tiny Tim, but like Space Tim. So Tim gets, he's the one who gives up Cassian. And so that upsets Bix. The entire town's kind of going nuts. They're banging on stuff. They're being disruptive. Why are you messing with an old lady? And even this lieutenant, is such a, well, as we find out later, a mommy's boy, overcompensating tool bag. but anyway, Cassian gives away his location via our little weird red droid. And
because that droid at no point could have possibly, shut off the comm.
you would think
placed inside of him and had no control whatsoever. That's fine.
Yeah, you would.
R2 can do that, but this droid can't.
Correct. Yeah, I can't do this. But yeah, I gotta say some of the tension building in here I really liked. We had the citizens of this planet, banging on all these wind chime looking things, making all this.
Cassian's mom is pretty foreboding, talking to the two security guards about that.
It's like, you don't have to worry about it when it's going on, but when it stops, what happens when it stops?
That would have been an amazing moment for her to just shoot both of those guards. I was kind of hoping for
I'm not going to lie. That would have been really fun.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious. But I mean, these security agents are, they're not being very nice to people at all. And, again, so Bix runs off to try and help Andor. She learns that her little boyfriend told on him, did a little tattle. She's actually apprehended by the security forces and sort of handcuffed to a pipe. And old Tim's gunned down in the street by one of the security officers.
And she is left, unfortunately, to be within about 2 feet of his body, all alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty dark episode.
That's kind of
pretty realistic episode.
Yeah, and that's why I like it. It is being really dark and really setting up like the people that you really hate them. And I gotta say, as we get into the next episode, they're really casting people who just look like people I would hate.
Yes, especially with the Imperials.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a second. But seriously, so anyway. In the midst.
By the way, I don't know where you are with this scene, but I'm at the point where Cassian gets shot in the shoulder. And I love, not jumping too far ahead, obviously, but in our next episode, we get the comment, we need to clean the wound. Mm-hmm. He was shot with a blaster, and it was instantly cauterized. But okay.
Well, but cauterization still needs treatment, so.
Sure. I just think it's funny how many people forget about the instant cauterization in Star Wars.
Absolutely. No, but just to before he gets shot, he is excuse me, big old yawn there. Not gonna edit it out either. But we get to the point where we're in the setting that was actually part of the preview that I saw. With Rogue One. So we're in this weird, I don't know, plant looking thing with all these chains and stuff. Somebody's BDSM dungeon or something like that. And Andor is trying to make the drop. Luthen is basically saying, you're kind of worth more than that. And it didn't look this. They edited the crap out of that little bit they saw because it looked like the explosion was actually made by the troops in the preview.
Really?
And no, it's Luthen. Luthen, he's like giving him tips and tricks, almost like Woody Harrelson did with Han Solo.
Yeah, I thought of that too when I saw this.
You want to know a fun fact?
If you did. Tell me, Skarsgård was supposed to be that. I'm drawing a blank on his name now, but instead of Woody.
No. Just a small fun fact here. So, I think it was a little later, but when they're in the ship, but Andor's like telling him, I served on Mimban.
So, in the next episode, yep. Yeah.
So Mimban was the planet that Han Solo also served on as a mud trooper, and met that same planet. So technically, you could make a case. Probably not, because I don't remember the timeline that well. When Han would have been there, but they could have been there.
That would have been pretty cool. He could have cooked him a couple meals. You never know, because that's all he was, a cook.
And he ran, just like Han, though. Interestingly enough, parallels. They both ran. So,
Well, there's definitely a lot of comparisons with these characters in general. I would say, ironically, because Han ended up actually being a soldier, but Cassian's definitely more of a cold-blooded killer than Han. That's pretty obvious. But they are very similar. So that's pretty cool that they tied it in that way.
Yeah, I enjoyed it personally. So we have that going on. Andor does wind up going with our character here, Luthen, and escaping. And we do get that one shot on his mom at the end, where she's, I think it kind of realizes that he won't be back, and she won't see him again. And it was very poignant in the beginning of the episode where she found him and took him with her, and kind of saved him, so to speak. So yeah, it's pretty cool. How'd you like the whole little fight scene here in the meat packing plant, the BDSM dungeon?
I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty neat that we're constantly having Cassian try to get the drop. He still at this point doesn't realize that Luthen is there for him and not this device, which I can see him not getting that right away. But I thought it was actually pretty well done. Realistic enough fight. Didn't have a lot of plot armor where, he's out in the open with 20 people shooting at him and he should have definitely been shot. I enjoyed it. Yep. The setting was good. The lighting was decent. Sound in the show is really good. Yep. Both music and sound effects for fights, I think, are done very well. Better than Kenobi for sure.
Agreed.
A lot more effort put into it. But yeah, every fight so far I've really enjoyed.
Yeah, agreed. I think it looked good overall. Zero complaints there. So eventually, Andor does kind of take our lieutenant from behind. Not to be weird about it or anything, but ties him up. They take a speeder. They create a diversion tactic with one of the speeders and blow up several of our security officers, and then they get away. And our lieutenant, he can't even imagine what's just happened to him here. But it's like, that is kind of the folly of the Empire at some point. Mm-hmm. And even in our scene before with Luthen and Cassian, where Luthen is like, I'll give you 1,000 more credits if you told me how you got this piece out. And it's just like, well, the Empire's arrogant. They're fat and they're bloated, and they don't think that anybody could ever defeat them right now. Why would you why would you try and strike at your benevolent overlords?
Well, it really shows in this episode and the next, with all the bureaucracy of the Empire, what they're really focused on, because they simply think that they are the only military might in the galaxy, and that all they need to really worry about is protocol at this point to secure the galaxy. And this security team and its ineptitude is probably my favorite part of this episode. I mean, they get completely decimated by one spy and a smuggler.
Yep.
Essentially. And I'm surprised our lieutenant didn't die in this episode. I was really expecting him to.
Well, I think he's gonna be kind of a major foil for Cassian, and I think eventually Cassian will probably take him out, but at the end of the day, I think he's just a big foil for this particular series. I think he'll be around for a while, personally.
Do you think he'll kind of go out on his own to go after Cassian, or do you think he'll end up joining the Empire at some point?
No, I think he'll join the Empire. I think it's a very similar story to Alindra Price, kind of going their own way, and then encountering more closely the Empire, which aligns to their ambition. The Empire is always going to take you if they can use you, and I think that they can use this guy. And I feel like as we get into episode 4 and start talking about more of like the intelligence community, I feel like eventually someone there is going to use him in that capacity.
Yeah, I have a bit of a theory on who will end up using him, but we'll get into that on the next episode, obviously.
Absolutely. So let's just go ahead and roll roll right into episode 4, which just dropped today, Wednesday the 28th of September. I feel like I'm like an old person leaving a voice message. Hi, this is your dad. I'm calling you on Wednesday, September 28th. By the way, this is your dad. And, you came from my loins. So I just wanted to tell you that, there's pot roast over here. Come and eat. By the way, this is your dad. My phone number is...
Dad's about halfway there, too, with voicemails. It's pretty epic. Not going to lie.
So, anyway, as we get into episode 4, this is...
Adani.
What's that?
Adani.
Yeah.
However you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, I think it's Aldhani. So it's kind of like a roll the D, man. I mean, don't be weird about it or anything, but just roll the D.
That's right.
So we start off sort of in our ship. We are hyperspacing our way towards the planet Aldhani, where Luthen has a job for Andor. He's going to pay him 200,000 credits. And he gives it a down payment. He gives him...
Down payment where he clearly points out the price tag of it, which I love. And he says multiple times, I will be back for this. But if you do sell it, don't sell it for less than 50,000.
Yes, and it's a kyber crystal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just getting back there because I was actually looking at that. So this is actually a reference to a species that showed up in the Knights of the Old Republic, the Rakatan, and I don't really know too much about them. I think they were like either like an aquatic or amphibious race or something like that. They had an empire of their own, and I believe that they were put down. Let's see here. What do we have? So, in reference to the Rakata from the classic Knights of the Republic series, a Force-sensitive race who invaded the galaxy and were only stopped when they encountered the early Jedi on the planet Tython. So, there we go. So, that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. We kind of mentioned that Luthen is kind of like a I don't know, an antique dealer, whatever you might call him. And he's got a kyber crystal. He's got these antiques. The Empire tried really hard to wipe out a lot of history and so forth and rewrite history. And there was an article that I just sort of briefly skimmed that kind of said it would seem like it would be kind of hard to become like a history dealer, basically. Just strictly because you might have some history that somebody in the Empire doesn't like.
Yeah. Yeah, and being that he has a kyber crystal, obviously, at this time in the Empire's uprising, seems to me that anything like that would be seized. I don't see the Empire trying to barter and pay for any kyber whatsoever.
Yeah, and there is a lot of talk about, like, items he had in his shop. That little club that he showed Mon Mothma, which coincidentally we see Mon Mothma. I guess like Darth Vader, one of Darth Vader's like Inquisitors, I guess was from the planet where that club was.
That was Utapau, right?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
It was from Utapau.
They had talked a little bit about the like stone tablets that our driver was being distracted with, possibly being kind of like world between worlds sort of mosaic type of deal.
Interesting.
And it also looked like in the background that he had 2 holocrons, a Sith and a Jedi holocron.
Nice. Nice. I was interested in the armor set. I couldn't see anything on that.
Well, there was also reference in here in the article that I was just taking a peek at that the armor might be like Star Killers. And there's been there's been a lot of speculation about the possibility of like Starkiller kind of making some sort of appearance, which I don't see.
I'm trying to think if that would work with the timeline.
It wouldn't work with the timeline.
I don't feel like it would.
No, but
he would still definitely be only a secret apprentice at this point.
Yeah. So,
well, realistically, no. This might have been after his death. It's hard to say.
Yeah, that's a bit hard to say. So, at any rate, yeah, I think that the junk shop was, I don't want to call it junk shop, that's mean. His antique shop was fun. It was an interesting transformation that he went through, and obviously he is high placed in society. Not just with Mon Mothma who showed up, but with others, because you're not going to be, and look, he's obviously making a lot of trips. So for him to be doing his trips for his clandestine stuff and all this, he has to be fairly high ranking in society, and he is on the top level. We even see when our security officer, our lieutenant, comes to Coruscant, he boards one of the turbo lifts down, and you see his face kind of drop as he's moving away from the top of Coruscant, and he's moving down to a lower level to meet his mother. That's kind of an interesting thing when you think about it, because in order to be at the top means you are top of society. You are the richest of the rich. You are well connected. So obviously Luthen is well connected.
Yeah, and I feel like we definitely get a bit of a Palpatine vibe with him, honestly, just in his ability to play people and, change his mood and whatnot. I really like the little transition scene we have from Spy Luthen. He has the hot towel that kind of... Yep. It almost like... Was he wearing somewhat of prosthetics? Because I feel like he was.
He put on a wig.
Yeah.
And then rings and bangles and fancy clothes. I did like how he was kind of like getting his face put back on. He did his little hand wave thing. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So then we also have the entrance of Mon Mothma here, who is covering her visit by buying something for her husband, which I don't ever remember her having a husband or any reference to like any significant other there.
I remember reference, but it was never important. From my understanding, like there's no lore behind it, really, just that she has one.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically they kind of made this guy up. This isn't somebody, so Perrin Firtha. It just...
And he's like almost one of the most hated characters, I would guess, because...
Well...
It's just kind of weird to think that obviously they knew each other well before the Empire and everything, but it's kind of weird to see a major leader in the rebellion pick someone who's so
douchey,
uninterested in all of that. Just their interaction was pretty good, though. I did enjoy the scene, and honestly, I actually enjoyed this Mon Mothma quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was good. She's obviously having a lot of trouble, a lot of spies in the Senate, new driver, all of that stuff. Everybody's being watched, and Palpatine. Oh my gosh, good more yawns. Palpatine obviously knows that Mon Mothma was close to like Padme and Bail and all this stuff, and so she's a little bit more of a bleeding heart to him. But I did find it interesting that that her husband mentioned this dinner, and two of the guests, Sly Moore and Aris Dangor, are like Palpatine's direct advisors. I mean, Sly Moore, if you look up a picture of her, you'll instantly recognize her. She's one of the Umbarans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was the one who had the big suit thing on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And she was also in the comics, too.
Odd. Kind of almost makes it wonder, like, makes you wonder, and I don't know how long they've been together, but maybe the husband's a plant, Palpatine of some kind.
That would be very interesting if that came to fruition. I don't know. It's very, we'll have to see. But kind of fun to throw those names out. Obviously, her reactions like, "What the hell, man? Don't invite those people. Don't set them with me. Oh, it's fine. You'll be at the boring table.
It's on the Google Calendar. You had a chance. It was on the Google Calendar.
Well, it does kind of show that, power and all this stuff can corrupt even people that you don't think it would. And I do kind of wonder if he's going to turn on Mon Mothma, and that's kind of why we don't see or hear anything about him in any other medium. So,
yeah, it's hard to say if that's one of those things, like they didn't think she'd be an important enough character to do that backstory, or if, well, like you said, potentially there's some betrayal there.
yeah.
Either way, this is the most interested I've been in Mon Mothma for a while, so
Yeah.
I'm impressed with the show to do that. And also, you mentioned names that we recognize and some drops for characters. Isn't it so refreshing, these first 4 episodes, that we are not thrown 10 or 15 characters from the movies or bigger, media that completely overshadow Andor as a character? We're just getting little tidbits, and it works. You don't need 20 name drops.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It is good. I mean, there is a reference like Saw Gerrera as well, like Andor's listing off like bands and all this stuff, but it's been very subtle, and it seems like they are really trying to focus on kind of what the story they're telling and not trying to be just a dumping ground for Star Wars references, which is not a good way to write a show. And you could say that in every medium. It's like you don't have to constantly reference the other thing. We know the thing. Just do this show well, and you won't have to constantly reference the other thing.
And it's kind of interesting that they chose that route for the one Star Wars show that realistically could be completely separate from Star Wars and still work.
Yep, absolutely. So, getting a little bit away from Luthen's storyline, we do have Andor, who is picked up by Vel, who is kind of a splinter cell here on our planet of Aldhani, and they are basically going to storm this base and steal credits and payroll. I thought it was funny. We're going to steal the quarterly payroll.
The quarterly payroll.
It's like, well,
why?
Well, but like they could just transfer that like electronically, right? They don't have to it's probably done by direct deposit. I mean, if like physical credits, what are we talking about?
I think it'd be funny if it was just done the exact same way that we had to transfer the Death Star plane.
Oh God, that would be kind of funny. Just a disc, yeah. So we meet kind of a group of characters here that are in this cell, not really trusting of Andor, even though Vel is kind of is saying she's trusting him. But the rest of the cell is definitely not. And even when they lay out their plan, Andor's like, "You're on a suicide run."
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We even have a lieutenant here who's looks like a part of the Empire, effectively, or at least playing one, that comes up on the speeder a little later that's helping him out. And yeah, so that's kind of the plan for them. And then I think the only other thing of note really is talking about our Imperial security force here, and we get kind of a new officer, which I actually don't remember the names. Do you have names of any of these folks?
I'm trying to find it right now.
Yeah, let me kind of run through here. I don't want to just call her blonde lady. That seems
hopefully they start with lieutenant, because I know she was a lieutenant.
Yeah, that seems somewhat disrespectful though, to just be like, "Oh yeah, blonde lieutenant." Let's see here.
So we have 3 that we could name. Obviously, we have the Lieutenant Supervisor Belvin, who is our leader of the group. We have Lieutenant Gorn, who is the one fighting our female lieutenant, I believe. Tell me that she isn't. Where is it? We're really good at this, guys.
Yeah, really good.
We're just awesome.
Yeah, this is annoying. Yeah, Blevin is definitely the other guy who has quite a bit of influence here. He's over 6 sectors. Our other lieutenant here is over 2. She's obviously very smart. You know, she's starting to see patterns in kind of like what the rebels are doing, and it's obvious that her supervisor here is definitely catching up with some of this. Who coincidentally, the actor who's playing this was also the guy from Game of Thrones. Oh gosh, is it getting late or something? Like, do I need to go take a little nappy? Now, wasn't he the guy who ultimately becomes the hand to you know, the character, the character who reanimated the mountain, that guy?
Oh, yes.
Isn't that him?
Yes. Yeah, no. That's Anton Lesser. I just found his name. Anton Lesser. He's Major Partagas. So we actually named our female lieutenant, and I just didn't look at her name. I looked at her last name. So it's Ben Bailey Smith is Supervisor Blevin, Lieutenant Supervisor.
Yep.
He's the one kind of bucking at our Lieutenant Gorn, who is Sule Rimi.
So she's Gorn.
Gorn is our female, I believe.
Okay,
Let me look up the name because I want to make sure and not insult anyone here.
I like insulting.
But
insulting's fun.
yeah, I thought that was really cool that we got such a well-vetted actor in Anton Lesser. That was pretty cool. I can't think of a lot of his roles, but obviously he's been around for a long time and he's done quite a bit.
Hold on here. No, it's not.
It's
not Gorn. No, that's another guy.
I'm getting them mixed up. No.
God, no. IMDb.
Sule is not.
Can you just get your crap together so I can like?
I don't. It's been worse on this show than anything else I've seen in a long time. Well, I don't get it.
It's like they're trying to keep some big secret or something here, and it's really annoying to me. Why can't I find? Is she like a nobody? She can't be a nobody, right?
Well, she is. She's a really good nobody, and just she should be listed regardless.
Yeah, this is pretty maddening, dude. Why can't we find? Because yeah, it's definitely not Lieutenant Guy. Okay, she's just not here then. What the hell are we doing? I like this character. Her character's name is Strong Woman.
Who's that?
Just some rando. Just Strong Woman. Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, hey, so throwing out there, just completely sidelining us here, but Game of Thrones. I saw that we are going to potentially be getting a TV series for The Last of Us. I don't know if you ever played that game or if you know much about it.
I know what it is, yeah.
Okay, so our actor and actress combo is going to be Oberyn Martell.
Yeah, I've seen
We are getting
that,
Vader, and then we're getting Lady Mormont, little girl, who stabbed the White Walker giant before getting crushed. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if that's a good show.
Yeah, we'll see. I still can't find this stupid character. Like I
don't.
You know, yeah.
Oh, I think I found her.
Come on.
Faye Marseille. Is that her?
I don't know, dude. I'll go with it.
I'm gonna check real quick.
Anyway, let's just put it this way. She's seeing the patterns.
No, that's Val.
Okay. Yeah. She's seeing the patterns, and it seems like our goodness, why are names so hard for me? Who is our?
If I could just find a scene, it'd be a lot easier.
If we actually did editing, this would probably be a lot better podcast.
That would just be entirely too much.
Well, let's just put it to you this way. She's seeing the patterns. She's obviously very ambitious. Even our other lieutenant does kind of like say, hey, make sure your ladder's planted before you start climbing it. And
yeah, absolutely
that's
love that scene. I thought that was pretty cool, and it definitely goes back to just how ridiculous the Empire is, how obsessed with themselves they are. They're not worried about the war, they're worried about their military career, and no one's really fighting for each other in the Empire other than maybe the stormtroopers.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. So we kind of leave the episode on a complete stand. Everybody's just kind of standing by. Our Imperials aren't really doing much at this point. Andor is, just sort of waiting for the job. And, Luthen is back on Coruscant. And that's pretty much the episode 4. Yeah?
Yeah, we are 3 days away, supposedly, from our little spy mission. Yep. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I think I found her name finally.
You better have.
If I can just pause at the right time. Come on.
If you're wrong. If you're wrong about this. Did you get it?
You just.
Did you find it yet?
Lieutenant Miro.
Hey.
Finally, it's Miro.
Yeah, it's funny. I just ran across the name Denise Go. Deirdre Miro, but she's not listed as Lieutenant Miro on IMDb, and she's only listed for one episode.
That's great.
So what's the...
I was really interested in her.
No, she'll be back. I think IMDb is just being a jerk about it. I don't understand why they're acting like this about this show, but anyway.
I swear I like the reviews, but their infrastructure for show information is not the best.
Yeah, I'd agree. So anyway, anything else we need to roll into?
No, I do believe we're ready for ratings. Okay. Since we're actually being professional now.
I have the list.
Do you have your spreadsheet?
By God, I do. I haven't done anything with it, but I have it.
Well, I don't see why you would, seeing as how we haven't done any.
Well, I could have prettied it up and put it on a thing you could look at, but no.
You literally could be. Yes, you could pretty up, but it could just say Andor at the top, and then 1 our ratings, 2 our ratings.
Yeah, I know, but I could also do other stuff. Just give me your ratings.
Well, what's our rating for 1 and 2 before we get too crazy?
Okay, so episode 1, you had rated it a 7.6. I rated it an 8.1. Episode 2, a 7.4 for you, and a 7.7 for me.
Gotcha. Well, I will definitely say it's going to be higher ratings this time around, and I think it's very well warranted. I even thought back on the ratings I gave for those episodes and thought they were a bit low, honestly. Mm-hmm. But these episodes were very good. I'm kind of going to talk generally of them both because I feel like they're going to be pretty similarly rated.
Okay.
We have a lot of intrigue in this show. We definitely are getting a bit of that spy Andor coming through. He is a scoundrel. He is definitely not your typical good guy, which I love having someone a little more gray in Star Wars. It's so rare to find these multi-layered characters instead of just, your typical good guy and bad guy. Definitely harkens back to Solo, which obviously we both love. I thought the acting was top-notch as far as Star Wars TV series go. I can't think of anyone who really acted poorly in this show. Even our supposed no-name characters that don't have a lot of accredited roles did very well, I think. Our sound design was awesome. Again, I love the intro, but the music in general is really good in this show. It is a story worth getting invested in, I believe. I'm very excited to see what's happening with Andor. It does kind of mess with a bit of the backstory we already got from Rogue One, which, as we talked about, we'll see if it really does or if it's just him being a spy and lying. But this definitely is going to make me more endeared to Andor, I can already tell. I don't see this show ruining it in the second half. I'm excited for our little mission, even though it seems so stupid to be stealing income reports, essentially, getting everyone's tax information.
Well, I think they're
But,
actually stealing money.
Well, yeah, but I think they actually do want to get the income.
Maybe so.
I forget exactly what they call, but anyway, it seems interesting. We really didn't talk about our cast of spies. Not a whole lot to talk about, but I just wanted to throw it out there. With the very little bit of dialogue we got from everybody, we got that this was a very tight-knit group that are very interested in the cause more than each other individually. We see that in little comments like, you fell asleep on guard duty. We're all dead now. You need to go tell Vel about this immediately. These characters aren't willing to let Andor in quickly, and I like how organic this feels. Obviously, no one's going to be willing to let him in right away. These people have been around each other for a long time, and they're very reserved people. It's the only way they're still alive. Vel seems like a very unsure leader. Be interesting to see where that goes. There's definitely some questioning of her decisions, obviously, although they aren't entirely her decisions to be made. And the Imperial stuff is great. I love seeing the corporate ladder that we get the mention of, how everyone's trying to just take care of themselves and no one's there for you if you fall.
Yep.
I'm interested to see what happens with what was his rank in our security division, the lieutenant?
Yeah, the lieutenant,
Yep. I'll be interested to see what happens with him, whether he joins the Empire or not. Miro seems like a really cool character. Belvin might be a bit of a hindrance for her, so that'll be a cool dynamic to watch grow. And yeah, these episodes are really good, and it's got me excited for more. I am happy we're going to one episode a week, but I am definitely ready for next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rate episode 3 at an 8.2 and episode 4 at an 8.3.
8.2 and 8.3, huh?
Yeah.
Let me just click these buttons so that we will have this forever.
Recorded in the history books.
Yeah. So I think that the way that this seems to be writing is multi-episode mini arcs. The first 3 episodes are an arc. Now we're into another arc. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that style of television, if I'm being honest. I think it's kind of lazy. Meant to stretch out things where you don't necessarily have to do that. But it is what it is. I did enjoy, I think, these 2 episodes more than I did the first 2 episodes. I think episode 3, it showed off Skarsgård's character a lot, kind of putting some stakes on them. And even with Bix, it's like, we kind of care a little bit more about the characters, and you really do hate the people you're not supposed to like. I think that they're building up the emotion pretty well with the sort of morally ambiguous Andor at its center. Even the stuff with the mom was kind of fun. Now, I assume we're done with flashbacks. I assume that we've tapped the flashbacks, which I'm fine with. But, I thought our scene in the warehouse was pretty neat. Overall, I thought episode 3 was a good, reasonably solid, ending to this particular line. It showed, kind of a rebel-ish win, and some smarts displayed by Luthen. So I'm pretty happy with episode 3. I'm gonna go an 8.3 on episode 3. For episode 4, I think we're dealing with a transition episode, not much on its own, so to speak. There is some intrigue here, which I find interesting. I think, we're definitely seeing more of the inner workings of the Empire here, but we get Andor's sort of setup. We get a little bit of the call out. We understand that Luthen is much more informed about Andor than Andor would like to admit. We get the start of this plan, but I think the more intriguing part was sort of the Imperial side of things, where we're almost battling over jurisdictions in puffy pants, so it's kind of funny and good in its own way. It does suffer a bit from being, from nothing really much happening. And I think that realistically, there are going to be a lot of people that might say, okay, but so what happened though? Because ultimately nothing really happened in there. Let me go ahead and pull this back up here, and we'll talk the actual ratings from IMDb, which is the only one that I care to look at. So Reckoning, or episode 3, is carrying an 8.7. An 8.7.
Pretty high.
I'm trying to click into it, but everything wants to be 5,500 reviews on that, so that's not bad. And then episode 4 is currently sitting at an 8.4 with 1,300 reviews. So pretty highly rated there. And you know what? Of those, everything is very consistent in the 8, 9, 10 range. Only 12 of those reviews are 1 stars.
That's very good.
So yeah. I would say this is probably one of the most honest rating scales I've seen in a while. Because you don't have top heavy and bottom heavy trying to balance itself out. You have a good mix from 7 to 10. So that's actually really encouraging to see. But to get to the rating for this one, I think that it was fine. But it's a setup episode, so I can't really rate it as high as sort of last episode. That was kind of like the end of an arc episode. But again, I do think it was fine. I'm going to go ahead and just give it an 8. A solid 8, because I think it was fascinating to me. It was good, and it had a couple of interesting parts that make me kind of want to see the rest. So that's where I'm at for that one.
Good deal. Yeah, very impressed with this show overall so far. Very excited for it. I won't go as far as to say it will save Disney and Star Wars, but it is a step in the perfect direction.
Yep.
It is exactly what they need to do, in my opinion.
Yep. I agree. Should be pretty interesting. I'm also going to call this as just a theory. Most, if not all, of these little spy people are all dead. And by the way, they're all carrying AK-47s. Did you notice that?
Yes.
It's like, I know,
they did a very lazy job at trying to make them look like anything else.
Yeah.
This episode.
Now, in Rogue One, Cassian's weapon is basically a ripoff of an AR platform piece, but they actually made it up to look more like a blaster that kind of looks like an AR platform. But these are just AK-47s. They just gave them AK-47s.
They're painted black.
And painted black. It's not very imaginative. But anyway, folks, hopefully you've enjoyed the episodes so far, both of the Andor series and of our show. But I guess before we start rolling towards the end, anything else you wanted to say or chat about?
Just kind of hopping on to what you said with the AKs. I think the blaster pistols, though, have been very well done in this show so far, especially Cassian's. I thought that was pretty cool. We get a really good close-up of that when it's in Luthen's face, and it was definitely more sci-fi than the AK.
Yeah, I would agree. Pretty cool overall. So, all right, folks. Well, again, hopefully you enjoyed. If you'd like to interact with the show, maybe give us your take on how the episodes have been for you, you can always hit us up on Facebook or Twitter, just at TC Plan Podcast. And if you'd like to send us an email, which, you can get a little bit more long form there if you want, tcplanpodcast@gmail.com is our email address. So I think that is it for us. So y'all have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.